that was my family. Before I really start, I have a couple things. You know, do any of you get nervous before you speak in front of crowds? Yeah, me too. I have gone to so many schools. I have traveled many different places, and I do lots of different talks. Can you guys hear me with this on? Yes? Okay. Yeah. But it never ceases to amaze me that every time I come to a new school or meet new people, I get really nervous. It starts the night before, and my stomach starts getting yucky, and all I can think about is what I want to say to you. And so, just to tell you, this morning I was on my way here, and I didn't know where I was going, and I really wasn't very far, actually. But I'm driving, and I was praying, and I was thinking about all of you, and thinking about how I really hope that today I say something meaningful for you. And all of a sudden, I see police car lights behind me. And I'm like, what the heck? I know I wasn't speeding. I know that because I was going so slow, I didn't know where I was. So I had to pull over, and I see all these parents looking at me, and people driving by, and kids wondering what I did. And honestly, I had no idea. And so, police officer, possibly the chief of police maybe, came up to my window, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I never get pulled over, like never. And I said, I'm so sorry, I don't know where, I just started like, jabbering. And he's like, oh, I just noticed you're from out of town and you turned right on a red light. Probably the only place in town that has that light, anyway. So he said, oh, you turned right on a red, you shouldn't have done that. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And he says, oh, you're the speaker. I said, oh, yes, I am. So I think that was my saving grace. And I said, do you still need to see my driver's license? And he said, yes, I do. But he didn't walk away with it or anything like that. But perhaps I'll be on the front page of the newspaper because speaker runs red. Anyway, I just turned right. So we'll see what happens there. You see my note cards? I think Saturn can see my note cards. I'll tell you, I wear glasses like cheaters. And otherwise they're like this, and I have to keep pulling my glasses on and off to see you, and I'd rather just be able to do this with you. So I wrote them on note cards that are so big, so I have to use my glasses, so that's what these are for. And it's no secret what I want to say to you today, but at least I have some notes to keep me going. So as I said, today I really hope to be able to share with you some bits and pieces of things that I have discovered from Morgan's death. I want to share the story with you. And I think that I'll probably be a little bit more blunt and a little bit more forward with all of you because I think the message really needs to be heard. And so perhaps this could be a life-changing day for you in many different ways. What I want you to think about throughout my entire presentation today is that I might not say something that you haven't heard before. And I might not say something that you couldn't read somewhere. And perhaps some of the things I say aren't completely original. Maybe you've seen them on social media or something like that. But I want you to keep in mind this morning that I'm a mom who's lost her child because of something that I couldn't help and something that Morgan couldn't help either. And so I want you to hear my message through a mother's heart. There was something so strong happening in Morgan's mind, heart, and body that it literally punched a hole in our world. And it took Morgan with it. And with that, it took part of my soul and my heart. And I probably don't have to tell you how much it hurts every single day to be a mom who doesn't have her child with her anymore, to see my children who no longer have their sibling, and to talk with Morgan's friends who no longer have their best friend. There's an incredible amount of sadness, and there's a lot of guilt that goes along with this because we all think that we should have known or we should have been able to help. But the fact is, especially with suicide, well, with anything, none of us are mind readers. None of us have the ability to know what's going on inside someone else's mind, heart, and body. Not even parents. And sometimes not even the best friends know what's going on. And I will tell you that we love Morgan more than we can even express. And something I want you all to remember today is that each and every one of you is so loved. You are so loved. No matter what it is that you might be thinking or going through, no matter how hard it might be at home or around you, you are loved. And the reason I decided to start talking to students, I wasn't always doing stuff like this. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. I'm a published author, actually, so I wrote a devotional, like a Christian devotional. Just did little things, volunteering at school and church, just kind of like a regular mom, and then this happened. And let's see, I'll back up here. In March 24th of 2014, Morgan attempted suicide. That morning she woke up, it was a Monday morning, and she seemed completely fine to me. She looked just like this. Morgan was smiling all the time. And yes, she was younger than you, but she experienced the same things that all of you experience at one time or another. She seemed very happy to me. She seemed just fine. I knew that there had been some drama going on in her life with friends. You know, we all have some stuff that's going on, right? We all have stuff. But it didn't appear to me that it was really that big of a deal. You know, because I'm an adult and I can see that tomorrow is a new day. And perhaps it was easy for me, just like it's easy for a lot of us and a lot of adults to say, don't worry about it, it's going to be fine. Tomorrow's new, who cares, right? It's not going to mean anything to you later. And I really wasn't that cold or insensitive to what she was going through, but I didn't think it was a big deal. Monday night, Morgan came to the kitchen when I was making dinner, and she said she didn't feel good, and actually she was crying. And I told her she didn't have to eat dinner, she could take some ibuprofen from the kitchen drawer and an ice pack, and I gave her some Sprite and some crackers, I think it was, just to help her stomach feel a little better. Maybe it would help her headache. So she went up to her room, and about an hour and a half later or so, I got a text message from one of her friends, one of her very best friends, and it said, you need to check on Morgan. And I thought, why would I need to check on Morgan? I've never ever received a text message from any of her friends. I've never had to worry about any of my kids like that. And so my husband and I ran up to Morgan's bedroom, and she was laying in bed all tucked in, and it looked like she was sleeping. And my husband said, oh, she's sleeping. I said, no, we've got to wake her up. That something's not right. Why would someone send me this text message? And so I was able to wake her up, and I said, Morgan, what's going on? Why did she send me this message? And she said, oh, I was just kidding. There's nothing going on. I just said something or whatever. And I said, well, what did you say? What could you have possibly said? And then she started crying. And she said, I accidentally took too many pills. And I said, what do you mean you accidentally took too many pills? And she said, I took the whole bottle. And she was crying, and she was shaking, and she was really sick. And I said, where's the bottle? What do you mean, what bottle? I was like, what are you talking about? And in her dresser drawer, she had put the bottle. It was empty. It had over 500 pills that were originally in this brand new, large ibuprofen bottle. And I said, oh my God, you took all of these pills? And she said, yes. And then she had actually gone into my bathroom, and she grabbed my Excedrin, my migraine Excedrin. She took anything that was not locked up, and she took all of these pills. And I just screamed at my husband, Derek, get the car, we have to take her to the emergency room. So we took her to the emergency room, and that was Monday night, and that was about 9 o'clock at night on March 24th. And in our emergency room, Morgan was given chalk, like liquid chalk, to help absorb the medication, to help her throw up. And they decided that if we live in Bettendorf, and they decided that they were not able to take care of her because they were afraid that she was going to have liver and kidney failure. And these things obviously can affect you for the rest of your life. But they were also worried that at some point she would pass out or something would happen. So we had to take her by ambulance to Iowa City, where she was put under suicide watch in the ICU, in the intensive care unit. And so I went from having a 12-year-old happy, who is ambitious, silly, funny, playful, straight A student, perfect attendance. This was all Morgan. Very happy and responsible. Now I'm in the ICU under suicide watch. In a matter of 12 hours, my world completely changed. And I realized Morgan's world completely changed too. And while we were there in the ICU, we discovered that Morgan had also cut herself. She had cut her wrist. And then we would also learn that Morgan had a successive plan, meaning she didn't think that the overdose was going to work, so she was going to do this. And if this didn't work, she was going to do this. Morgan wasn't just accidentally taking too many pills. Something very big was going on inside Morgan's mind, her heart, and her body. And so I had Morgan admitted to the inpatient pediatric psych unit at Iowa City. Morgan was there for 7 days, and she was not happy about that at all at first. But then Morgan realized that the people that she was there with actually understood what it was that she was going through. They understood the depression that she was diagnosed with, and they understood the anxiety disorder that she was diagnosed with. And so Morgan felt like she could be Morgan. And I saw the sweetest, happy little kid that I hadn't seen in a long time. I didn't even realize that she had slipped away from me over time. I didn't even see it. Morgan, I said to her, Morgan, I didn't even know I didn't even know. I had no idea what you were going through. I had no idea. And she said to me, I didn't want you to know, and you weren't going to know. And she was just very firm like that with me. I didn't want you to know, and you weren't going to know. And I said this, and I know I was thinking it constantly, if I don't know, how can I help you? I can do so much for you. Just like all the people that are in your life, we can do so much for you. But we can't read your minds. I'm going to ask 3 questions, and I've never asked this before, but I feel a need to. When I ask this, you can be thinking about yourself personally. I won't know the difference. No one else will either. Or someone in your family. So I want you to raise your hands. Do you know anyone who has thought of committing suicide? Do you know anyone who has attempted suicide? And how many know someone who has completed suicide? So I'm not talking about anything new to any of you. All of you have either, by those hands, it's really shocking to me. Although, I wouldn't say shocking because I kind of know it, but I would say that if this room was filled with parents, they might all be holding their heart, thinking, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So one thing I want every one of you to remember today, and I want you to take it with you, is that you are never alone. You are never alone, no matter what it is. Whether you're going through something now or tomorrow or in the future, you are never alone. Something I found in some writings that Morgan left behind was that she felt alone, she felt afraid, she was frustrated, she was angry with some things that were happening with her friends. So you're never ever alone. Nothing is too big. Nothing is too big that you can't share with someone. Who knows who their trusted adult is in here? Raise your hand, please, if you know who your trusted adult is. I know those words are like, oh, I'm not a little kid. But I'll tell you, I have a trusted adult. I know adults who have trusted adults. We all need someone who we can turn to talk to when something isn't quite right. Morgan also did not believe that there was any help for her. And when you don't have hope, then you can't believe in help. You probably heard on the video, I hope, that I was reading some of Morgan's letter. Morgan left me an 11-page letter. And what is so hard for me to think about is that she had time to write 11 pages about why she was leaving, and she left a message to lots of different people in her life. The one thing she said in there was that this life just wasn't for her, and that it was better this way. She said, "I'm sorry to leave you like this, but it's better. It's better this way." And she said, "You did everything you could for me." And those words, they ring in my head all the time, because I think, she didn't have any idea what I would do for her. She has and had no idea the lengths that any of us would have gone through to help her through this. Because there is help and there is hope. And Morgan only gave me 3 days between the time she was released from the hospital until Sunday morning we went to church and she took her own life. Only 3 days. That didn't give any of us time to even tell her so much more how we love her and how we can help her. This picture was taken the day Morgan was released from the hospital. She was actually hugging her twin sister in this picture because she was so happy to be home. Saturday before Morgan died, she and I took a walk because I could tell she was kind of quiet and sad. And some drama started up again at school because she had been missing for a week. And so she had to go back to school and she had to figure out how she was going to tell people where she was and what was going on with her. And, wouldn't you know it, there's always someone, right, who has to rub it in your face. There's always someone who has to just put that knife in and turn it a little bit. And that's exactly what happened with Morgan. You would think that someone who had gone through what she did, you would think that people could be more sensitive to that. People would want to help her and want to be kind to her. And that was not the case with everyone. There were people who weren't necessarily her close friends that were whispering and talking and starting that kind of gossip, the little rumor mill in the lunchroom. And on Friday, I found out 3 months after Morgan died, that Friday, Morgan cleaned out her locker. She took all of her pictures down. She took everything personal out of her locker. She even went to the art room to pick up her crafts and things that she had done for art projects because she wanted to make sure that I received them. I didn't know any of this until 3 months after Morgan was gone that I looked in her backpack finally. Her backpack had sat along with her tennis shoes by the back door for 3 months. I did not want to move them to even sweep under them. I just couldn't stand the thought of it. But when I finally did look in there, I saw the contents of her locker. I can't even explain to you how it made me feel, knowing that that Friday, Morgan cleaned out her locker, and no one apparently saw it. No one knew what was going on with Morgan at school. So there are a couple messages that I'm sharing with you today. The very personal message about Morgan's life, how I don't believe for 1 minute that this was God's plan for Morgan. She was intelligent and talented, and she was loved. She was so loved. But as her mom, now I'm her voice and the narrator of her story. So sharing with you that, but there's this kindness factor. And it's true that my message is a little bit different, but a little bit of the same, what you've always heard. I'm not an anti-bully campaign. I don't even like to use the word anti and bully in the same thing, but I do believe in kindness. There was a large factor, that was a factor that played into Morgan's death, was that she did not have enough time to build up good experiences between the bad to see that life is good. She didn't have the opportunity to realize that joy was only one breath away. If she could have just waited one more breath, perhaps she could have realized that that joy was there and that hope and that help was there. So, kindness. As I told you, Morgan was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, and we'll talk about that in a minute, and depression. So that is the main thing that was going on with her. But there was a trigger. And the trigger was that Morgan was being attacked on social media by people anonymously, people she may or may not have known. They had said to her on social media, and I found this later too, why didn't you just hang yourself? Why didn't you kill yourself? You should have done it this way. Next time, try this. They were so mean and so cruel. When someone is so fragile in their mind and their heart, they can't possibly fight against that. And if you don't know who your attacker is, it's anonymous, forget it. And some of her closest friends, very best friends, they felt a lot of compassion for Morgan. They felt really bad for what happened, but they also didn't understand it. If we have never been in the situation where we have wanted to end our life, or we've never been in that deep, dark hole, it's impossible for us really to climb inside someone else's mind and heart. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be kind and compassionate, right? It takes nothing to be kind to someone. So, anxiety. Can people tell me, what's anxiety mean? Yes? Yep. And how, very good, thank you. How does it feel? Does anyone know how it feels when you feel anxious? Like inside your body, what does it feel like? Yes? You can't breathe? Exactly, you can't do the things that you normally do. Well, how else might you feel?
You feel like there's nothing else in the world to live for, I guess.
Nothing else in the world to live for when you feel anxious like that? Yeah.
Hard to think.
Hard to think. Your heart races, right? When you're anxious, you might feel really sick to your stomach, like sick. The heart's pounding, sick. Maybe you're biting nails a lot. Can't sit still. You feel like you need to do something, but there's also something holding you back. It's like you want to go forward, but you're constantly going back, and your mind is racing, right? These thoughts just keep coming in. You're anxious. Depression. What does depression look like? What is depression? Sadness. Depression is sadness. What else is depression? Yes? What? Anger. Absolutely. Depression is sadness. It's anger. Mood swings, right? One minute we're happy, we're fine. The next minute we're really just ticked off. Don't interrupt me. Don't bother me. Maybe we have these angry outbursts. Sometimes we might act out, maybe we punch walls, or we want to hurt someone else, or we want to hurt ourselves, right? Depression is all of those things. Depression is when you can't sleep at night, and your mind just keeps talking to you. You can't turn it off, and maybe you're crying. Maybe you want to sleep too much. You want to sleep through the problem. I found some notes that Morgan was saying that she just wanted to sleep. Just wanted to sleep, and maybe when she woke up it would be different, it would be better. She was just going to sleep through whatever it was that was going on. Maybe you can't. You can't fall asleep. You can't stay asleep. You don't want to do the things that you used to like to do, like your sports or being with your friends, even though you feel like, well, I want to, but you just don't feel like it. Like you just like this wool, right? Can you help it when you get depressed? Does anyone want to be sad or depressed? Does anyone want to be anxious, upset? How about suicidal thoughts? Does anyone know about suicide, not necessarily personally, but suicidal thoughts? Yes?
Well, it's kind of like being, I guess I always refer to like being in the dark somewhere. You can't get out until you don't see any other doorway when it's just...
Right, so you're in the dark and you don't see any other way out, right? I think about this hole, like a really dark hole, and the light is way up there, and it's hard to see yourself climbing out. And even if there are people who want to put their hand down there and reach in and grab you, like I wanted to grab Morgan, it's very difficult to do. Suicidal thoughts, what I've been told is that it is this thought that is constant in your mind, constant going, when do I want it? I want to die. How am I going to do it? When is it going to happen? But it's this constant, loud, loud, loud. And you're trying to get through your day. You're trying to do the best you can. And it's this constant gnawing thought that just won't go away. It's that darkness. And all you see around you, nothing is good. It's very hard when you get to that point to remember that there is help and that there is hope. What I know is that people who take their own lives, people who commit suicide, I like to say completed suicide, by the way. When I say commit, it makes me feel like I'm talking about a crime. There is no crime. But when they complete suicide, when they take their own lives, they don't want to die. People who do this don't want to die. Doesn't that sound odd because they're taking their own life? They don't want to die. They just want the pain to stop. Right? They just want the pain to stop. But when you don't know how to get help, and sometimes it can take a while, when you don't know how to do this, it can feel like there is no way out. They do not want to die. They just want the pain to stop. I've read some things from survivors, people who have attempted and have survived. Big ways. They've jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge or the Brooklyn Bridge. Maybe you've heard about this. They've jumped, and the first thing, as soon as they jump, they're like, oh my God, what did I do? And all they want to do is live. They can't believe that they did that, and now they want to fight for their life. And these people now are speaking out and talking and saying, when that happened, I wanted to live. I honestly believe with my whole heart that the second Morgan died, she would have taken it back in a second, knowing the heartache and devastation that this caused her family and her friends. And I don't say that selfishly. I don't think suicide is a selfish thing. I feel compassion. I feel only compassion. But I believe that once it happened, she wanted to take it back, but she couldn't take it back. It was too late. And as a mom who had to do the things that we had to do, we had to take Morgan down, my husband and I, and we did CPR. We called the ambulance, Mackenzie called, and they kept working on her. And we took Morgan to the emergency room via ambulance. They were still working on her, pumping her heart, giving her oxygen. And I kept thinking the whole time, they wouldn't do this if they didn't have hope. Why would they keep doing this if they didn't think that she was going to live? Like, I really thought that all of a sudden her eyes were just going to open and be like, so sorry. But that didn't happen. We were in the emergency room for about a half hour, I think. I don't even remember, but the doctor came over to me and he said, we've been working on her for a long time. And we could continue and we might get her heart started. She's been without oxygen for a long time. If we get her heart started, this will not be your daughter. Yes, her body will be alive, and she will spend the rest of her life in a nursing home. We will continue to work on her if you want us to. And in that moment, I remember my husband stepping behind me. And I had to decide whether or not I wanted these doctors to continue or if I wanted to just put Morgan to rest. And in that second, I just knew that that would be no life for her. She wouldn't be my child. I did believe that they could probably get her heart started, but that wouldn't be Morgan. And so the very hardest thing I've had to do is to tell doctors to quit trying to save my daughter's life. We all get worried sometimes, right? We all get scared. We get sad. All of these things are completely normal. All of them. You know, before a test, you get worried. When someone dies or something bad happens, we get sad. We get afraid. We get angry. All of these things are very, very normal emotions. But what about when it starts to affect the way you're thinking? It starts to affect the things that you're doing. It starts to affect your relationships, and it's distracting. So I'm talking today about when these thoughts and these feelings start to interfere with your life. Okay? That's when we need to reach out for help. As I said, all of these things are normal, but when it becomes too much, And again, I'm not a mind reader. Your teachers aren't, none of your parents are either. You are the first to know when something is going on inside your mind, your heart, and your body. And you owe it to yourself to share that information and to ask for help. No one can do that for you. And each one of you deserves to be happy and healthy. You deserve that. And you have to remember, always, you are never, ever alone. Never. Even if your thoughts are telling you, I feel so alone, no one cares, no one's going to help me. It's not true. Depression lies to you. It wants you to believe those things, and it's not true. I know that the teachers and the staff here, your principal, they care about you so much. That's why they wanted you to hear my story today. They care about you. So if you feel that you can't or don't want to talk to the people who are in your life, like your caregivers, your parents, whoever it is that you live with, your trusted adult, you can go to the staff here. I know for certain they want to help you, and I know that they care about you. On your bracelets and the cards that I'll give to some of you who don't have them right now, and I have brochures, I have my website, and it also has my email on there. If you need to, you can talk to me, and I will help you talk to the people who are in your life to find you help. I talk to kids, sorry, you're not kidding. I talk to students and parents every single day. And I don't just say this. People message me midnight sometimes. I need help. And sometimes it's just they want to talk, or they want help talking to the people who can help them. I am willing to be that middle person. And I would be honored to if you need to contact me or reach out to someone. So we talked about the times when the depression and anxiety is very real. It's affecting everything you do, and you need to reach out for help and be that. Maybe you need to see a therapist or a doctor. Sometimes it means medication. All of that is completely normal too. I know that there are a handful of you who are on some sort of medication right now for depression or anxiety. I am too. There are a lot of people, and it's completely normal. If you had cancer, would you just say, well, we're going to hope for the best, maybe tomorrow will be a better day? No, you would treat it. You would talk to a doctor, you would treat it. If you had an ear infection, you know how bad those hurt? You'd go to the doctor, right? That's what I'm asking you to do today. If there is something going on inside your mind and your heart and your body, if you are thinking that tomorrow there is no hope and it's not going to get better, if you are thinking that you want to take your own life, I am begging you, from a mom who's lost her child, I'm begging you, please talk to the people in your life. Please reach out for help, because there is hope and there is help. I promise you that there is. For those times when we're feeling the normal sad, angry, frustrated, lonely things, it's up to each and every one of us to create a personal care plan, okay? What I mean by a personal care plan is we need to plan for those times when we're going to feel those very normal emotions. What can you do if you're lonely? Tell me what you can do if you're lonely. Somebody. Yes? Go talk to a parent or a friend. How about if you're angry? What's a constructive way to handle your anger? If you yell, you just yell loud.
Punch a pillow.
Punch a pillow. What is it? Did someone say something over here? Oh, you said hit a pillow too. Everyone wants to punch their pillow. Okay. We could go running, right? If we're angry, you're just going to run off that steam. Okay? Punch a pillow. How about if you're sad? What do you think you can do if you're sad? Color? Yeah, they've got some really cool coloring books out now, don't they? We could color. Watch a movie?
Yeah. Watch something funny.
Watch something funny. Here's my point. Each of you, sometime today, please come up with the things that you are going to do. Come up with your personal care plan for what you're going to do when these very normal feelings happen, okay? I'll tell you, in the last 2 years, I've had to come up with a lot of things to do because I have felt every single one of these emotions. I've even felt that very real sadness that there is no light the next day. That's how sad I've been because Morgan's been gone. So I call it distraction. I'll do anything to get distracted sometimes from my own thoughts or my own feelings. It's all about taking yourself from one moment to the next, remembering that there is joy in the next breath. There really is. I'm going to show you something here. Okay. Who thinks this glass is heavy? Anybody? Okay. So it wasn't so heavy when I picked it up, right? It's really not that heavy. It's a glass, and I'm actually thirsty, but it's a glass, half full glass, half empty, but it's not that heavy. Now, if I'm still holding on to this glass in an hour, is it going to feel lighter or heavier? Heavier, right? My hand is going to start to hurt. My arm, my elbow, especially I have arthritis, so it's really going to start to hurt me. Now I have to, imagine that this is you. You have to eat lunch with this glass of water in the same hand, in the same arm. After school, you need to do your homework, your school, maybe you've got sports, and eat dinner, and this darn glass is still right here in the same hand. You can't do anything about it yet. You've got to keep it right here. Pretty soon it's like this, right? And now I have to go to bed with this glass of water. I have to try to sleep, and then I have to wake up in the morning with this too. Pretty soon it's going to really start to affect the things I do, right? It's going to be difficult to eat, so I'm like, I don't really feel like eating anyway, never mind. Sleeping, well, I'm constantly waking up. I don't want to go to my sports anymore because really, how can I do anything with this? I want you to imagine now that this glass represents your mind, your hearts, and your bodies, okay? The glass is your mind, your heart, and your body. And the water inside of it represents all of the unwanted thoughts and feelings that you have. All of the unwanted thoughts and feelings you have, like the sadness, the anger, the anxiety. Maybe there are people who are not being kind to you. Maybe they're being downright cruel to you. All of these thoughts and feelings that you don't want, whether they're there just because or someone else has put them there, it's right here. Somehow, you need to know and you need to learn how to empty your cup, right? All of us need to learn how to empty our cup. We need to learn how to get rid of the unwanted thoughts and feelings that we have. Because we deserve to be happy and we deserve to be healthy. So how are you going to empty your cup? We're going to go back to that trusted adult, right? We all have the trusted adult. So I'm going to talk to you about how you empty your cup. This is a silly thing, I admit that. But I like to use like these trigger objects sometimes for talking. My thought is that sometimes it's very difficult to say what's on your mind. Sometimes it's on the tip of your tongue, right? But you just can't get it out. How do we say to someone, I want to die? Especially the people who care about you the most. That's really hard, right? It's hard for us to hear it, but we want to know. Sometimes it's just very hard. So I use these kind of things. Something that's odd and unusual, and you will come up with your own. The thought is, you tell your parents, someone you live with, say, if you see this object sitting out on the counter, it's unusual, right? Now, if I said leave your shoes out, you just get in trouble because that's what you do anyway, right? So use something odd and unusual. This is going to tell your parents or the people that you live with and who care about you and care for you that you have something important to say. And it puts their it puts it back in their court. Now they are the ones who are going to come to you, and they're going to say, okay, you need to talk about something, what do you need to say? So it takes the pressure off of you from having to interrupt, if that's how you're feeling. And here's where the mom in me, Morgan's mom, is begging you. When they come to you and say, what do you want to talk about? Are you okay? Even if you're not using this, if your parents or the people who care about you, are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Anything you want to talk about? Tell them. Be honest. You deserve to be happy and healthy. Be honest with them. If they ask you, are you okay? How are you? Do you want to talk about it? Talk about it. Please talk about it. Remember my words. When they ask you the next time, you doing okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? Please tell them. Please ask for help if that's you. Okay? So here's the squishy thing. So who thinks that they would use something like this in their house? It's yours. So you promise me that you'll use it? And so you talk to who you live with and tell them, this is the idea. Maybe it's easier for you to write it down, okay? Sometimes we don't want to say it. We're embarrassed or whatever, okay? Write it down. Write a letter. Share a journal. Have a shared journal. Say, I give you permission to look inside my journal every day if you want to see if I've written something. Write your thoughts and your feelings here. Empty your cup in your journal, okay? Maybe they don't want to fix it for you. You don't need them to fix it, but you need to empty your cup. You need to share that, okay? Some way, somehow, you need to find a way to communicate what's going on inside your mind, your heart, and your body, because we are not mind readers. We can't help you unless we know how to help you, unless we know what's going on. We're going to move into the kindness campaign part since we only have a few minutes left. Words can breathe life into another person, but they also have the ability to take that life away. Say it again. Words can breathe life into another person, but they can also take it away. Our words are so incredibly powerful. We can use our words to inspire other people to be better, to do better, but we can also deflate them. We can make them feel less about themselves just with our words. And maybe it's not saying it out loud. It could be on social media, texting, Snapchat, Instagram, however it is that you are reaching out to people. Your words have the ability to breathe life into someone, and they also have the ability to take that life away. 4 out of 5 of you have been in a situation, this is a statistic, 4 out of 5 of you have been in a situation where you have been bullied or harassed, either socially or online, or in some way in your life. 4 out of 5 of you. That's a lot in this room. I think that there are 3 different kinds of people. There are those who are the bullies or the harassers. There's someone who is being bullied or harassed in some way, shape, or form. And there's someone who sees it happening, a witness. Would you agree that you are at least one of those? Can you raise your hand if you're at least one of those? We all are. Even I am. I see people being harassed and bullied online, adults. I have been bullied. Do you know one of the cruelest things that someone has said to me on social media, anonymous, someone said to me, I don't feel a bit sorry for you. Your daughter died on your watch. That's on you. Can you believe that another mom said that to a mom whose child had just taken their life, that it was my fault, and she didn't feel bad for me because it was my fault and it happened in my house? We get bullied too. So we have the ability to change what's happening around us. I want you to think about being an active witness, not just a witness to something. First of all, I want you to stop being the harasser. We don't know the impact our words and actions have on other people, right? Sometimes we say things that we think are funny, like, oh my gosh, you're so weird. Well, in the moment, people are kind of laughing and whatnot. Well, what happens when that person goes home at night and it's quiet, and they're sitting there thinking over and over and over again, you're so weird, you're so weird. Everyone thought it was funny, but now you're thinking, am I weird? You know, whatever it was that someone said about you, those words have the ability to echo over and over and over in your mind, and then you start to think, there must be a little bit of truth to that, otherwise why would someone say it? So here, a seemingly innocent remark, whether it's on social media or you said it in a group or to that person, it was innocent enough to you, but now it's affecting this person. You have just filled their cup with an unwanted thought or feeling. When I say being an active witness, I want to refer back to Morgan. Someone had to have seen Morgan cleaning out the locker that Friday. Someone, a friend, someone at school, a teacher, a counselor, the principal. But they didn't, maybe they didn't recognize exactly what was happening. Maybe they didn't ask her, why are you doing that? Maybe they did and she lied. Okay. How about the people who saw all these horrible comments on Ask FM to Morgan? Did they step in? Some of them did. We each have the ability to shift and change the momentum of a situation. If we see something that's happening with someone else on social media, at school, wherever it is, in a group of friends, we have the ability to change that by stepping in and being an active witness. Now sometimes it's not possible and we don't want to step in because we don't want to be the ones who are getting picked on. Well, that's when we then turn to our trusted adults too. We ask them to help us navigate through that situation. We have the ability to help someone else out. Does everyone know what sympathy means? What does sympathy mean?
Like thinking of another person.
Well, yes. Sympathy means I can feel sorry for you, right? I can feel sorry. Okay? Sympathy, have we all felt sorry about something, sorry for someone else in a situation? How about empathy? Empathy. Yep.
Being able to relate to them or try to imagine how they're feeling and not be selfish about it.
Put yourself in someone else's shoes, right? Empathy. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. So we all learned the golden rule a long time ago, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I translate that into be kind, period. Always. Be kind always. Not just when you feel like it, not just when someone tells you to or it's the cool thing to do. Be kind always. None of us know what's going on inside someone else's mind, heart, or body, and we have no ability to read or know how we're going to impact them with our words and our actions. But it literally takes nothing to be kind. But you can literally change. You can change someone for that moment, for that day, or forever. I'm going to write them. It might be a little hard for you to see, but I want you to remember, words have the ability to breathe life into someone, and they also have the ability to take it away. And what happens to our words when we throw them out there on social media or other? What happens to the words? They're there, right? We can't take them back. We can't take it back, whether we've said it out loud or we've written it. We can't take it back. Words can only be forgotten, or words can't be forgotten. They can only be forgiven if someone chooses to forgive you for your words. So I want you to leave here today. I want you to remember the word think. And you've probably seen this by now, but I really love it. Think before you talk. Think before you text or message. Think before you do anything. So you're going to be asking yourself, is it true? Is what I'm saying, texting, messaging, is it true? Think about that. All the things that we say all the time, is it true? Is it helpful? Is what I'm about to say, is it helpful to this situation, to this person? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Again, our words have the ability to inspire other people to be better, to do better. Inspire. Is what you're about to do inspiring? And is it necessary? you know, we say a lot of things for fun. We know that. And that goes back to that name calling or that silliness or whatever. But in all truthfulness, when you're about to say, talk, text, or message, is it necessary? And it's okay if it's not necessary. But if you're using all of these, I really believe you may change the way you speak and the way you talk and message people. And is it kind? Is what you're about to say, talk, or message, is it kind to someone? Because we're going to be kind always. When words are both true and kind, they can change the world. They literally can change the world. People who were in Morgan's life at that time, they had the ability to shift the momentum. They could have been kinder to Morgan when she was in a sensitive and fragile state. And lastly, legacy. What kind of legacy do each of you want to leave behind? Not only in this life, in this world, but in your classes, in your school, in your family. The legacy. Making your mark. And that's where these little cards are coming in handy. On the cards that some of you have, sorry again, on the cards that some of you have, it says, make your mark. Leave your mark. There's a quote from Judy Blume, who was Morgan's favorite author at one point. It said, our fingerprints don't fade from the lives we touch. Every one of you, every one of us, regardless of what kind of contact we have with each other and others, we are leaving our mark. Is it positive? Is it a good mark? Is it inspiring? Or is it negative and bad? What kind of mark are you leaving? When you scowl at someone versus smiling? When you help them versus walking by them? You are leaving a mark. What kind of mark do you want to leave? I'm going to wrap it up here and just say, again, thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for letting me share Morgan's story. Remember that you're not alone, ever, none of you. That the people in your life care about you more than you can ever possibly know. Truly, more than you can possibly know. Even if your parents are the biggest pains in the butt, they love you. The people who care about you, they're doing it because they love you. If you need anything, you can find me on my website and my email. Please turn to your teachers and your trusted adults in your life, and remember to please be kind always, and leave your mark in a positive way. If you would like, as we leave, we have time, there's some ink pad up here, and those who have cards, if you would like to, you can leave your own little fingerprint on your card. And I would really love for you to have this card be a reminder to you every day, not only of Morgan, but of the importance of leaving your mark and being kind always. So if you'd like to come up when you're going, you can make your little mark on your card. And the others who don't have a card, I will bring some more to school later, and a bracelet. Morgan's favorite color was purple, so that's why the bracelets are purple. And my coalition is called the It's All Love, Only Love Coalition, and it's in honor and memory of Morgan. So I thank you so much for coming to school today, for listening and being so patient and kind and quiet. Does anyone have any questions at all? Thank you so much for coming.